All right, music fans, welcome. Harmless Dave here on the Harmless Dave channel, talking about just more craziness in the world. It's the world of music, but it's somebody who's talking, who's a musician, and he gets in trouble for saying just obvious things and doing what I do in real time for a few real people out here just like you and just like me. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel and then hit the little bell if you want notifications on new videos as we duke it out with the algorithm. There's also YouTube memberships, Patreon, buy me a coffee. I just finished a coffee, so yeah. Had a couple of coffee buyers yesterday. Also, PJ Rock super chats. And I didn't see any PJ Rock super chats last night. So, but it's fine. It's fine. The buy me a coffee. I'm probably going to see more of the coffee revenue than the super chat revenue, but don't know. Don't know. Just doing what I do in real time. All right. So, Lynn Turner here. Belly of the Beast. Why do I like this album? Well, musically, it's a little out of my wheelhouse. But thematically, this album is, well, it's very accurate to where we are in the world right now. Lynn Turner, a good guy. I would almost consider him a friend. I know I'm name dropping, right? Used to sing for Deep Purple. Was in this band called Fandango years ago. People probably forgot about that. Also, Rainbow, just a brilliant artist, right? And still out there, still touring. And Joe actually still sounds good, unlike Daryl Hall. That Daryl Hall video amazes me. I mean, okay, people want to watch that video. This is the point. The algorithm works in a strange way because if a video gets in a vortex, it's, it just goes and it has like a mind of its own. Speaking of people who have a mind of their own, Sammy Hagar has weighed in on politics. Or did he? He really didn't. This was back during Memorial Day weekend. So I guess you can't say obvious things anymore without offending people. The Bible talks about this, by the way, that people will be offended by everything in the last days. It says offense, and I take that word literally. It started with what seemed like a straightforward Memorial Day message, but leave it to the internet to turn a holiday barbecue into a digital shouting match. This, according to AlternativeNation.net. Okay? This is actually a short piece. It's to the point. Hagar expressed his thoughts about patriotism and respect for the American flag during the Memorial Day weekend. Oh no. Why did Sammy do that? Respect for the American flag. And a lot of people will say, well, the American flag, what does it really represent these days? I think no matter who the president is, the American flag ends up being beat up because of who the president is. So if you don't like the president, then you don't like the flag. But can you at least try to like the country? Try to like it. Try to make you know what it is? Make the best of it. Make the most of it. The people who are constantly offended by something seem to have the loudest voices and sometimes even the biggest platforms, right? So they're always mad about something. They're mad about low inflation. They're mad about lower gas prices. They're mad about lower egg prices. They're mad, constantly mad. They're mad when criminals get deported. Fans quickly responded with mixed reactions to Sammy's controversial message. One fan commented, "I was once a big fan of America." Wonder if he's from America. But now, I am sad to say, it is not the beacon of justice and the rule of law it once was. Oh, you mean the rule of law created by rogue justices, people who are on the courts making laws, going into areas out of their jurisdiction. Yeah. It's cool. We had the whole three branches thing, but now one branch seems to be kind of taking control of the other two branches. Anyway, this fan says, "Sorry, Sammy, it's a different country for the wealthy like you." Oh, why am I laughing? Um, because the narrative that had disappeared, the oligarchy thing. I guess Sammy must be part of the oligarchy. They should have a Stop the Sammy rally at some point. Maybe Bernie Sanders can be there. But there's this new thing because it was Elon Musk who was trying to cut waste out of the government, and he's what, the richest guy on the planet, basically giving his time away. Which, if I'm the richest guy on planet Earth, I don't know if I spend time trying to fix what might be unfixable. But he did. And so now, he's a target, and Trump, obviously, even though I think Donald Trump is one of the few people who went into the government who lost money, right? If you're Nancy Pelosi, for instance, you had nothing when you became a member of the House of Representatives. And then all of a sudden, well, over a few years, you become very wealthy. Same with Bernie Sanders, right? Doesn't he have 3 houses? So he may not be as wealthy as Sammy Hagar. I don't know. Sammy, by the way, earned his money by singing and playing rock music for like 50 some odd years at this point. So you could say at least he had a job, where a lot of these people, I don't know if I count being a senator as like a real job. I guess it is, but it's, you're being publicly funded. So that's a little different than, going out there driving a truck for a living, where, you're earning your money because you're doing a service. What kind of service are people in Congress providing you with when you think of it? I mean, some of them don't even want to show up for a vote. You're going to keep me here? I mean, I got to go home. It's a long weekend, and I want to be with my family this weekend, and I don't want to have to vote. Would you guys hurry up and figure out what you're going to do? Anyway, so one fan is upset because it's a different country now. And again, remember, Sammy did this on Memorial Day, where we're supposed to honor the people who died protecting this country and our freedom. Another one said, what is even more sacred than our glorious symbol of freedom? Actual freedom. Say it's okay. Which I would say we probably still do have mostly actual freedom, except, of course, when the government comes along and they want to lock you down and tell you can't drive, you can't shop, you can't do anything, and you have to stay 6 feet away from people, and you need a QR code to go to concerts. Yeah, that sounds a little authoritarian, doesn't it? Oh, but that was important, man. You were being selfish if you didn't want to go along with what the government told you to do. You were the problem. By the way, Hagar clarified his intentions in a follow-up response. Imagine that. Sammy had to do a follow-up saying, please, please, this was not intended to be a political statement. Enjoy this weekend. Go out and barbecue with your family. Enjoy what's left of the freedom. All right, so is Sammy admitting that we don't have a lot of freedom there at the end? He's probably just trying to placate at this point in the conversation. This was not intended to be a political statement. But like I've said before, when people say, Dave, I like you, but when you start talking about politics, I just click out of it and go to another channel where they're telling me about guitar solos and, they're stating the obvious about a song from 1983 that we've heard 16 million times. Should have been a bigger hit. Wow, that's earth-shattering conversation. Great subject matter, and the person doing it's probably getting like 2 million views on it. And here I am struggling to get to a few thousand. By the way, thank you, Daryl Hall, for helping me get to, I think, 20,000 on that video or something like that. Doesn't make sense. Anyway, so Sammy just says to enjoy the weekend, go out and barbecue with your family. A lot of people, by the way, think of Memorial Day weekend as a time to barbecue. All right. Where, yes, it is a time to barbecue, but it's also a time to reflect on the people who gave their lives so you could go out and have a barbecue. Um, anyway, it says here the controversy, which isn't much of a controversy. See, a lot of these guys need a publicist. They need somebody to handle social media. And seriously, it's a full time job. Sammy could say, hey, can you just tell people happy Memorial Day weekend? Um, the problem for Sammy here is he talked about the American flag, and that's a problem. And look, do I think you should be able to burn the American flag? Yes. It's free speech, and I'm a little bit torn. Sorry to use that word when we're talking about flags, but yeah, it's free speech unless you pass a law and Congress passes a law and the people who represent the country say that's a good law, pass it. But, you know, when you get into symbols and things like that, if the government truly becomes evil and they're still flying the flag, that flag to you is going to seem very loathsome. And you're going to be like, stop putting that in my face. It's kind of like, you know, if we were truly an evil country, the flag would be like a swastika. And I don't think you want to have that. You would be protesting that. So you should be able to protest it. Unfortunately, you probably should still be able to burn it. I don't like it. I think it's horrible and it's detestable. And I think people should speak out about that. But, you know, being kind of a free speech, I guess, equal offender here, um, it should be permissible. It's not good, but it should be permissible. Um, anyway, the article goes on to say, here's what's crazy. Sammy Hagar's brand isn't politics. He's not like Ted Nugent. He's good friends with Ted, by the way. Um, he's not like a few other people. The late, great Rick Derringer, who passed away, who got a little political and a little conspiratorial toward the end of his life. And from what I can tell, he was right about everything. He wasn't wrong about stuff. But you can't say that out loud because then you're branded as a conspiracy theorist, you know? One thing about Derringer in his Wikipedia, it says like he appeared on the Alex Jones show. Imagine if every other musician had something on their profile that said appeared on Rachel Maddow's show. Wouldn't that be equally as crazy in the other direction? I would say much crazier, but that's just me. Anyway, they say the dude built an empire out of margaritas, not manifestos. The only red he usually deals with is in a solo cup. That's good, but he is the red rocker. They could have thrown that in there too. He is the red rocker. So red rocker tries to go red, white, and blue and gets hammered by the internet. Could be the title of the video. I don't know. Anyway, Mas Tequila, Sammy. Poor guy. He's just like, happy Memorial Day, everyone. Don't forget about the flag. The flag? Don't talk about the flag. It's evil. All right, folks. So anyway, speaking of evil, this album here is all about the evil in our world. See how I did that? Lynn Turner, Belly of the Beast. The brilliant Lynn Turner, who looks really, I don't know how to say it here. I would say the look here matches the music. All right. And Joe, who I know pretty well at this stage, his intent is to tell people about what's going on in the world. He's kind of like an evangelist. He's trying to wake people up. Not woke. It's different. Trying to wake them up. So hard rocking stuff, not for everybody, but Belly of the Beast. I'm hoping he'll do a follow up. I'd love for him to do like an, I don't know, Deep Purple sounding, rainbow sounding album. But anyway, I think Joe is pretty much laser focused on the end of the world, end times. And some of us view it differently than others, but it's certainly approaching, I would say, maybe faster than it ever has. So, all right. I'm done. Thanks for watching. Again, Patreon, Buy Me a Coffee, YouTube memberships, PJ Rock Super Chats. Don't forget to hit subscribe, watch the videos, share the videos, or, you know, when I start talking about politics, you can just find another channel to watch.